Welcome to the Start to Finish Podcasting podcast, where we talk about everything podcasting. Audio recording, microphones, recording software, helpful podcasting tips, and much more. We help you create and improve your podcast, whether you're new to podcasting or an experienced professional. And now, your host, the man who wakes up every morning with podcasting on his mind, Andre Lewis.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the Start to Finish Podcasting TV Network. I'm Andre Lewis, and today we're going to go over a topic in which I got through an email today where someone asked a question about what should be the top 5 things on their website. So what happened is they are starting a podcast. I think they have one episode out and they want to get a website. So what they asked me in the email was, what are the top 5 things that should go or be considered for their website? So I'm going to go over the top 5 things that I think should be considered. Most podcasters will probably consider the same things, maybe 4 out of the 5 that I'm going to give you, but these are the top 5 things that I consider. And like I said, most podcasters will probably agree with me. One is, I'm going to start right now. One is an easy website to remember without confusion. An easy website to remember without confusion. And when I say confusion, I'm going to tell you what I mean. Let's just say an easy website, somebody who has a basketball podcast. So basketballforlife.com. Very easy to remember. Basketball for life. Okay, I get it. Confusion. Make sure there's no confusion in the domain name or the website. Basketball for life. Okay, so let me go type it in. Is it basketball, the number 4 life? The number 4? Or is it basketball, the word 4, F-O-R, for life? So we don't know which one it is. Unless if you get both domain names and you register both of them, you're fine. But basketball for life, you got to make sure it's 1, easy to remember, and 2, there's no confusion. Basketball for life. Oh, well, is it? I went to your website. I typed in basketball, the number 4, and life. And you say, no, it's basketball, F-O-R. And if you don't establish, like, if you get that website, if it has confusion like that, you're going to be forever saying, when you give your website, you're always going to be saying basketball for the number 4 life. Or you're going to be saying www basketball, spell it out for F-O-R life. So you got to make sure your website is easy to remember and make sure there's no confusion. I've made the mistake in getting Start to Finish Podcasting, but I think nobody's really going to put a 2 in there. Some people have. I've gotten emails saying that they couldn't get to the website because they typed in the number 2. So I've made that mistake too, but I'm going to keep it. I can always register Start to the number 2 Finish podcasting.com. So that's number 1. The second, in considering one of the most important things in your website, is make sure they have easy access to your podcast. When they come to your website and they want to listen to your podcast, it should be some button that they can click to go right to it. If not, if you don't have it on there already on the front page. I know some websites do have it on the front page. I don't particularly really like it on the front page. But if you have it on the front page, that's fine. But make sure they have easy access to your your podcast, and you can have a button to click podcast. Make sure it's nice and clear and they can see it. Don't put it somewhere way, where you have a drop down menu, and then when you drop down the menu, you can hit podcast because you got a whole bunch of other stuff that doesn't need to be there. Podcast should be one of the navigation buttons that should be right there, in addition to services if you offer any. Also, you want to have right on your page, make sure you have a button where they can easily subscribe. One of the best things that you can have, best places you can have a subscribe button is probably on the bottom of the page or somewhere on the sidebar. I take that back. I wouldn't say bottom. I would say more on the top. So when your website opens up, and they go to your website, it could be right there, pretty much on the side. If you have it on the side, like a sidebar, it's not saying like jumping at them saying subscribe. as opposed, because if you have it like right there when you open up your website and it's like right there, or a pop-up window that says subscribe, that's annoying, and it's going to turn a lot of people off. So make sure you have an easy subscription button where they can subscribe somewhere on the side, but make sure it's in the frame of when you first open up the website. All right. What else? Number 4, a description of your podcast, a good description of it. Tell them what your podcast is about so they are not wondering. Okay. Just make sure you say, hey, look, welcome to whatever podcast. This podcast, I teach you this, I teach you that. We talk about this, we talk about that. We cover these topics. Make sure you're very descriptive in what this podcast is about, because that may be your only shot. Somebody may go to your website, and if they just read what's there and it's not what they want to hear, they're gone. So make sure you have a good description of what your podcast is about. And the last thing, the 5th thing you want to, that's most important, is make sure you have a button for your services, a navigation button for your podcast. Remember your podcast, and then you should have one for your services, so they know exactly what type of services you offer. You'd be surprised. A lot of people go to podcasting websites and they'll say, they need this and need that. And you may be able to do it, but you haven't expressed that to them. You haven't communicated that you do intros, you do post-production, you do consultations. For a long time when I started my podcast, I didn't mention that. Even though I did it, I didn't mention it. So I'm mentioning it now. I do consultations for those who want to start a podcast. I do editing services and all. I do a lot. Everything podcasting, I do a lot of. Make sure you mention that somewhere on your website, your services. Let them know what you offer. So those are the top 5 things. I'm going to go over them again real quick. Make sure it's a website name that they can remember and it's not too confusing. Make sure they have easy access to your podcast. Make sure they have a subscription button that's easy to access. It's right there. Not so much in their face with a pop-up subscribe, but more on the side. Make sure they have a descriptive detail of what your podcast is about, and make sure they know what services you offer. If you have those top 5 things on your website, you will be fine. You can always add additional stuff, but those top 5 things I think would be real great if you have those, and it should help you out. And there will be no guessing when somebody comes to your website. They'll know exactly what they want. All right. And if you have a blog, you want to put that up there too, because the blog is always good to have also. So that's going to be it. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Start to Finish Podcasting at gmail.com. Check out the website, starttofinishpodcasting.com. Thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you tell 1,000 people about this channel. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Start to Finish Podcasting podcast at www.starttofinishpodcasting.com. Don't forget, you can listen to the Start to Finish Podcasting podcast in iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. You can also visit our social media pages on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. Thanks for listening.